Hello guys, and welcome back to another class of our course about the complete introduction to programming with Java. So in today's class we are going to talk about something that is pretty interesting and that will introduce us to something a little bit more complicated, but once again really interesting. So we're going to talk about basically Java operators. So in my opinion, it's better to do a theoretical class where we talk about them, and then we're going to practice all of those. So the main goal of starting out with Java operators is after that be able to show you talking about a really basic function that exists not only in Java but also in Python, or if you, for example, are familiar in Excel, with Excel. It's the if function. So basically in Python there is the if, the else, and some other things. So basically all those comparing functions. And the introduction to this is really understanding operators. So we're going to talk about two types of operators today. So there are some other types of operators, but my goal here is really to show you the basics and really introduce you to the type of function that we are going to work a little bit later in this course. So let's start. All right, so the first type of operators that we are going to talk about is pretty simple. It's called the comparing operator, so basically the comparison operator. And the goal of this operator is really comparing two values together. So basically in this case, I wrote down a few examples. So for example, we are going to compare A with B. So the first here we have some really common comparing operators. So the first comparing operator is this one right there. So two equal signs. So it simply means that A is equal to B. And basically it's used to compare two variables or two values together when you guys are working with Java. The second one right here, which is an exclamation mark with an equal sign, means that A is not equal to B. So the sign means that it's not equal to. We are going to compare, let's say we're comparing A with B, and we write down this sign. We want to know if A is not equal to B. So in the case that we want to know this, we can write down this sign. If it's not true, well, we are going to have a true or false value. Those signs right there are pretty simple. So it's a greater than or smaller than. So those are entering also in the comparing operators. So pretty simple. If you want to know if A is greater than B, you simply write down this sign. And if you want to know if A is smaller than B, you write down this sign right there. So once again, it works with variables and numbers. And the two last comparing operators will be the same sign as this one with an equal sign. So basically, this means that A is greater or equal to B. So this sign right there, greater or equal, means that a certain variable or number is greater or equal to another variable or number. So basically it's there to compare two values together. And you probably guessed it, the last one is really to verify if a variable is smaller or equal to another variable. So smaller or equal to something. This is basically the last sign. So those are the main comparing operators that we are going to work with in the next few classes. So basically we're going to program them. Next type of operator that we are going to use is the logical operator. So basically it's used to find the logic between values. So basically it's really here, let's say for example, you can put together comparison operators as well as logic operators. So here is an example right there. So we're going to talk about some common logical operators, and you'll see that we are really using the two types of operator, so comparison as well as logic. So let's take the first example right there. So what we saw in the past class is that this means it's equal. So basically if A is equal to B, and if A is smaller than 5, it's gonna return true. Once again, it's really important that the two values are met. So basically the sign that will be used is this sign right there. So it's two elements those two elements right here. Simply means that the two conditions needs to be respected. So basically if the two conditions are respected, it will return true. If not, it's gonna return false. So basically we can see this this logical operator as an AND. So basically, if we want to verify this and this, we will write down this. So I want to verify if A is equal to B and if A is smaller than 5. I will write down this sign, and if it's true, once again, it will return true as a boolean. All right, next sign that we are going to talk about will be the OR. So we can see it as an OR. So it's two lines like this. So let's say, for example, if A is smaller than B or A is smaller than C, return true. So it's right there, return true if one of the conditions is met. So basically, let's say you have few conditions and you only want to return true if one of the conditions is met. So in this case, you will use this sign right there. It's a bit different than this sign right there. And once again, it works with the two elements. Finally, the last one, it will reverse the result. So what exactly it means? So as you can see, it's just an exclamation mark. So let's say, for example, you write down exclamation mark and you write down A smaller than B. Let's say then A is really smaller than B, it will return false. In the order then A is greater than B, it's going to return true. So what it does, it simply returns the reverse answer. So in other words, let's say, for example, something is true, it will return false. And if something is false, it's going to return true. So once again, it really depends what exactly is your goal, but it can be useful as well. So those are the operators that we are going to use a little bit in the next few classes. Basically to let you guys practice with them and really to make you familiar with all those operators. So that's it for this class, guys, and see you all in our next class for more practice.